Good evening, afternoon, whatever, ladies and gentlemen. This is Hairy Muppet. We're going to be doing a 1v1 Platinum League cast. On the bottom left is our Terran player GrayFoxxx, and on the top right is our Zerg player Reaz. Reaz. There seems to be a lot of Zerg in the matches I've been casting recently. I've had very few Terran versus Protoss, or Terran versus Terran, or Protoss versus Protoss. It just seems to be Zerg everywhere. I'm not sure if that's because Heart of the Swarm has made everybody like Zerg a little bit more, or whether Zerg are just a little bit OP at the moment. But if they are OP, I don't know what I could say the unit is that makes them OP, because we've seen a bit of action from every different type of Zerg unit in these games. So we'll whack on the production tab and we'll go ahead and we'll see how this game goes. Now, this map, I think we've said it a few times before, it's got an expansion but not really much room here. This gap you can sort of close off a little bit, but there are a lot of high ground here, which is really good for air units. I think we saw once carriers used to great effectiveness up on this high shelf here, and I'm sure if you're a Zerg player and you got Broodlords, you put them up there, then you would be able to do some massive amounts of damage. But of course, against a Terran player, Terrans can get Vikings very, very fast if they need to. So I'm not going to expect to see Broodlords in this game, simply because they're countered so easily. What we're probably going to see is either Roach Hydra, I'm expecting, or some sort of Ultra play. Mutalisks are good as well, but they're a bit hard to throw against a Terran player, simply because Marines are just so easy to produce and they're so good at dealing with Mutalisks. And meanwhile, on the Terran side, I mean, Triple M, Marine Marauder Medevac, is always a really good option. Of course, there's also a bit of tank play, maybe a bit of Hellions, but tanks are a little bit better than that, and perhaps even some Thor play. People like to get Thors at the end of the game. They don't really swing the tide of battle that much, but they are nice and bulky and they're really cool to look at. What I haven't seen in any of the past 15 or so games that I've cast is actually Banshee play, and I think Banshees, it's still a good option to go after Banshees early on. You get the Starport, you move it onto a tech lab that's already been built off a factory. You start researching clone and start building Banshees. You can get 2 Banshees sitting outside the Zerg base with a fair amount of energy by the time that Cloak has finished, and that Reaper's doing some very, very nice micro I should say. However, the Queen's just about to pop out, so his window for killing stuff is going to be severely limited. He might just have to resort to hitting this hatchery for a little while, but those Lings aren't going to chase him away. He's got the level 30 Ling skin on him as well, so that's nice, and it looks like he does have speed on those guys now. I can't be sure, but maybe when the special level 30 Lings get speed, they actually turn into the Raptors from the campaign. For those of you who know who played the Heart of the Swarm campaign, in the evolution of the Zerglings, you can either choose the guys with the big fin on the back, or the Raptors who can jump up cliffs. And I believe this is the Raptor skin once they get speed. But before you actually get speed, you've got the big sail on their back. But where was I? We were talking about Banshees, and I can't remember the exact timing, but I believe probably what time are we on? The 6-minute mark. So I'd say around the 7 to 8 minute mark, maybe a little bit later, you could have 2 Banshees out here with Cloak just being finished, if you went in the right way. And they can do quite a lot of damage if the Zerg isn't ready for him. If he hasn't got down Spore Crawlers, if he hasn't got down a Hive to go into Overseers. The Queens are good at chasing away the Banshees when they don't have Cloak, but once they have Cloak, I mean, you can see a single Banshee just take down 5 or 6 workers very easily. Now, it's a bit of a risky tactic, because it leaves the Terran fairly wide open to a Ling attack at that point. They're not going to have any real sort of Marines or anything like that coming out to help them out, but you know, it's in terms of knocking down the Zerg's harvester count, it is a very useful tactic. Unfortunately, Banshees aren't really useful at any other point in the game, so you've got to do a lot of damage at that point, because you're not only paying for the Banshees, you're also paying for the cloak, which becomes not really that useful after the initial attack. But we do have a large amount of Hellions coming on, so these Zerglings just suddenly became a lot less useful in this game, and this siege tank is going to give them a nice scare as well. They're going to run away, and that's absolutely beautiful. So we've got 6 Hellions now. I'd expect them to go ahead and clean up these Zerglings without too much problems. They've actually got the Infernal Pre-Igniter upgrade coming up, so these Hellions are going to be a major part of this game. Well, maybe not a major part, but they're going to be doing some damage at least. Now the Overlord positioned up here, he did see that, so the Zerg does know about these Hellions. I'd expect him to maybe take over to Roaches, or maybe he's just going to wait and let the Hellions come in, because with a Spinecrawler there and a Queen, these Hellions are still going to get quite a lot of drone kills. But there we go, the drones are moving out, the Hellions are giving chase, and just look at that, there we go. So the Hellions are going to get a lot of kills here. They're going to take a lot of damage, but I think it's going to be worth it here. Look at all those drones getting roasted. The Queens are providing very good interference though. And where we go? Where we got? Let me find a units lost tab. Where's the units lost tab? That's structures tab. We don't want structures tab. We want units lost tab. So that's 23 lost so far. And so I'd say about 15 or so of them were actually drones in that case. If we have a look at the income, yeah, see the Zerg's been pushed way far back. And he does have Widow Mines there. So that's going to take out all of the Lings there. The Roaches are coming in, but between the Siege Tank and these Hellions, I think they're just going to get chased off. And the Zerg is not having a very good day at the moment. He's got to re-macro up his drones. And meanwhile, the Terran really did a good job on that Hellion harass. And he's got the front of his base locked down with those siege tanks. So I think he's in a very good position at the moment. He's even getting up a... where's that other hatchery? He's getting up a third, which I assume he's going to move out over there. The Zerg is watching that base, but if he doesn't have forces to take it out, then watching it's not going to do him too much. If we have a look at the structures tab, we can see 2 factories and 4 barracks, so his production ability is pretty good. Meanwhile, the Zerg already has a 3rd hatchery up, so he's not going to be doing too bad either. Look at the units tab. He's caught back up on workers, but that there's no denying that Hellion attack did cost him quite a bit. So we're going to see what the Zerg's army is after he starts regrouping, what he starts building to deal with this Terran threat. And I mean, with the way the Terran has been going, maybe air isn't that bad of an idea, because he's got Hellions and he's got tanks. Hellions, I mean, just they can't attack air, so that's probably good for air units. But these tanks, Mutalisks are definitely the best counter for tanks in this game. You just gotta, the Mutas are so fast, and the tanks are relatively slow even when they aren't sieged. When they're sieged, of course, they can't move at all. Mutas are just great at picking off tanks, and it really puts the Terran on guard. They really have to guard them really closely with the Marines, and that hampers a lot of the Terran movement. And we can see the Spire coming up for the Zerg player, so he is thinking along those lines, but then again the Terran has pushed up his Marine production, so he's definitely looking for a Marine tank sort of army. I would not be surprised, there we go, Stargate with the reactor, so he's going to get a fair size of medevacs as well. So he's going for the very good combination of Marine, tank and medevac. So the medevacs obviously healing up the Marines, and they can be used for drops as well. The Marines push out ahead of the clump of tanks. Usually you've got about 5 or 6 tanks in a decent sized army. Here we go for another Hellion attack. He's got blue flames, so he's going to be almost instantly roasting these drones. Unfortunately, not that many drones to roast at this base. So he's going to kill these Lings, but this last Hellion is going to be taken off. So it's a bit unfortunate there. He didn't really do the damage that he wanted to with that attack, simply because there weren't that many drones to attack. But yeah, maybe he'll have to lay off the Hellion forces a little bit. He can turn them into Hellbats, but we'll have to see how that works. The Hellbats are only really good if you're going up against like Roach Hydra or something like that. Maybe Lings as well, but we'll just have to see. And here comes the Mutalisks. So as I was saying before, with the tank army, you put the tanks in a safe spot, you move the Marines out the front, the Marines go out, they stim up, they try and hit as much as they can. If they get something massive going towards them, like Banelings are an excellent counter towards Marines. The Marines run back, the Banelings chase them, and the siege tanks obliterate the Banelings and obliterate the Lings. Of course, it all becomes more complicated when the Mutalisks come into the mix, because the Mutas, when they see the Marines moving out, they'll try and flank and take out the tanks. So you've always got to have the Marines ready to run back at a moment's notice to take out the Mutalisks to stop them from killing the tanks. And it's a very, very tricky style of game to play. You basically, the Terrans controlling two different types of units, the Zergs controlling two different types of units. There's constantly back and forwards, nudging at each other, getting a little bit closer, getting a little bit further away. If you mess up just a little bit, the Banelings will get into your Marine force and just wipe them all out. If you mess up a little bit, the Mutas will get too close to your tank force and boom, you'll have lost 3 tanks, you won't have enough to take out the Lings, and you're basically dead. And the same thing with the Zerg force. If you're not watching your Mutalisks closely enough, and they accidentally fly over Marine forces, the Marines stim up, and you've lost half your Mutas. And similarly, these Zerglings, these Banelings, they just die so easily to siege tank fire. It's not too much of a problem because you can rebuild them so quickly, and it's not, but still, I mean, if you lose all of your Ling forces and your Baneling forces, then the Marines run in, the tanks follow them in, and the Mutalisks just don't have any chance at that point because the Marines will take them out so fast. So it's very, 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 very tough to play this sort of game, to play Mutaling against Marine tank for both sides. But it looks like the Terrans are going to be pushing out here. He doesn't actually have as many tanks as I would like. I've been hyping up the Marine tank, but he hasn't actually got that many tanks, he's just got Marines. And with these Banelings coming up, he doesn't have Baneling speed, but I'm sure that'll change soon. There we go, it's nearly up. So when he's on creep, right now, with the Lings, this Marine force is just going to get wiped out by those Banelings. As soon as Baneling speed comes up, these Marines are dead because they just cannot deal with Baneling speed at this stage. There's just no way. And the Infestors casting Fungal Growth is just going to make it even worse. So there we go, that's the Marine force gone. He's going to continue building Marines and Medivacs. But yeah, with Ling speed now out on the field and a lot of Lings coming up, as well as the Infestors, then the mass Marine Medivac is just not going to work. He might have some luck with the Widow Mines. If he does a good job, he can take out a hell of a lot of Banelings with those Widow Mines. But it's not as good as tanks. It's good if he gets the position right, but the Widow Mines are even more immobile than the tanks, because they shoot a lot less and they take a lot longer to get set up. And here is just the Zerg moved out at exactly the right time, and just watch this Marine force just get decimated. So yeah, it's just not working for him. This strategy is just not working at the moment. It looks like this is the where's this? The drilling claw. So that's going to allow the Widow Mines to get burrowed a lot faster, I believe. Yes, a burrow and activate 3 times as fast. So that'll be good for the Widow Mines. I'd be very interested to see if he can make Widow Mines work against this sort of army, but I don't think he can. I mean, there'd be great base defense, but right now the Marine army has just fallen a couple of times against these guys, and now the Zerg are out on the field. They haven't got as superior numbers as I thought they would, but they're still very, very scary, and they're going around and they're taking out expansions. The Terran's going to be very scared at the moment, and I'd really like to see him get a nice tank army up to counter these lings, these Zerglings, and these infestors. We'll see if the Hellbats make any difference. They will certainly be able to tank a respectable amount of damage from the banelings. Let's have a look. Volatile burst. So yeah, the Hellbats will be able to take a fair bit of damage if he runs them out a bit of a gap in front of the Marines, like the Marines are here, and he runs the Hellbats out there, and the banelings are just an attack move. Then the Hellbats will be able to absorb almost all of the baneling hits, and then the Marines will be free to take out the rest of the forces. They'll still have fungal growth to deal with, but it won't be as bad. However, if the Hellbats are still sticking close to the Marines, then the banelings will injure the Marines as well as the Hellbats, which of course will be bad. And it looks like we have a fairly major drop going on over here. Bunch of Marine forces and Hellbats going in. They're not going to really get anything. There's a couple of spine crawlers here, and they sort of stopped the Marines from really going in and taking the drones out. They got very distracted, and these two Marines are just a little bit late to the party, but they're going to join in the fun as well. And this is just very, I'd like to say ballsy, but with the Zerg player playing at the height that he is, I'd say it's just going to be stupid, because you know that he's going to see it eventually. The Zerg is all over the place. He basically knows everything that's going on in this map, so that's pretty much gone. Look at this Widow Mine getting burrowed, and look how fast that thing got burrowed. It's just, as poor Zergling's just running by, just completely got owned. So that's very interesting. We'll see if that Widow Mine can do any more damage. What we got over here? Just a medevac who's just chilling out. It's just not really being worried about at the moment. Now I've got to say, the Terran player is actually he's actually macroed up his army quite a bit here. I'm not sure why the Zerg is that far behind. It may be because he's put a lot into Mutalisks. I think it's in his infestors. He's put a massive amount of gas into his infested cannons. That's brought him up a little bit short in spending in his other areas. He could also be waiting to fill up that supply with Ultralisks as applied to Zerglings and Banelings, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get the minerals to build that many Ultras, so we'll see. Another drop coming in here. It's a good idea because this base was already attacked before, so the defenses are down a little bit, and these Marines are going to get a lot of kills up. There's like two-thirds of the drones in there got taken out. Unfortunately, you can't continue targeting the drones because there were just there's just too many lings in there. It's too hard to target, but one medevac will get away, and I love that boost that the medevacs have right now. It's just whoosh, it just shoots away as fast as it can, and that's great for getting away from drops. I've seen so many drops where people just use that ability and they just soar away, and it's very, very hard to take them out once they're just zooming away like that. So we've got the fourth base up here for the Terran player. He's got quite a big defensive force in front of it, and he has got Widow Mines coming out his ass here. So I think this is going to be very good, and with all those lings and banelings, if the Zerg ran into this, that would just be amazing. Oh, please tell me he's going to run into all those Widow Mines. I so badly want to see that. Come on, no, in here, over here. Come on, Zerg player. That's it, that's it. This is going to be so freaking... Oh, where are you going? Alright, yep, there's an expansion over there. Take that out, then come back down here and run through these Widow Mines, okay? Alright, I need you to hit those Widow Mines for my subscriber number to come up, okay? Please, he's going around the long way. The Terran player is going to run back. He's going to try and pull him over to the Widow Mines, but the Zerg is saying, no thank you, I want to attack this expansion instead. He's going to go in there, the Ultras and the fungal growth is just ripping this army apart, and the widow mines are just like, come on guys, is something going on here? Where's the army? Do you want me to just sit here? Do you want me to move? Is anybody there? I mean, it's the Zerg army is going to run away because all it's got is infestors, but he is going to be fungaling as he retreats. So this Terran army is yeah. That's just nasty. But he did save the majority of his infestors there, so I'd say that was a pretty good move by the Zerg player. He didn't really do that much economic damage, but I think he did take out more army value than the Terran did in that battle. And I gotta say, these poor widow mines right here is just, yeah. I mean, what can I say? It would have been a golden moment, but it just didn't eventuate. So we'll have to see what happens. He's built up a crapload more lings, and he's getting some banelings now, so he's going to move in again, do some more damage. And he's going to go through the same entrance, I think. I think he should anyway. Maybe the Terran should move a couple of widow mines over there. But so sleepy. I was up till midnight last night playing Starcraft with a couple of mates. I know midnight isn't that late, but it is actually pretty late for me. I've got this thing where I get 8 hours of sleep and I still feel tired. But enough about that. What's important is this attack coming on. Did that guy just one-shot a ling? He did, 40 damage. That's pretty impressive. I don't think you can upgrade the damage on that, but I didn't realize it was 40 damage, so that's really good for Terrans. I think back in Wings of Liberty it may have taken 2 hits to kill a ling. I can't remember exactly, but look at this beautiful timing. Although he is going to get flanked over here. I don't think any of these Marines are going to make it out alive. Or maybe they will. Come on, get back in, get back in. So it runs, speed boost, speed boost. Away from the infestors, away from the infestors. That is not away from the infestors. Look at it. There. No, you silly bastard. This guy doesn't have fungal growth, he's just forgotten to move. There he goes, he's got the speed boost. And I think this one's going to get taken out though. Unfortunate. But a bit of mess ups from both sides over there. We do have the Zerg player going for some ultras again. So he's going to try and push that. He's also going to push into this base, but he took way too long to attack this base because all of the minerals are completely gone. It looks like the Terran, sorry, may be starting to think about moving into the gold here. I think probably the top left would be a better option, but you never know. These guys are actual Marines. I thought they were the thingamybobs that the overseers dropped, the little crap fellas, little squeegee guys. There's widow mines all over the place. That's just going to be demoralizing for the bloody Zerg army. They're just going to be seeing widow mines everywhere now. Although with ultras, I'm not sure they care anymore. This one's going to go down. This is a very nice army. He's got a lot more marauders, so he's obviously prepared for the ultras. Once he gets out of that fungal, just start sniping infestors. Get these infestors. They've been around for way too long. You need to start stimming, and you need to start getting in here. Come on, widow mine. Oh, that was brilliant. Just at the very last second, going, where's your stim, man? You're hobbling along, man. Look at these guys. It's like the Hellions are the young man, and then they get really old and they get really wrinkly and they start getting arthritis and they turn into hellbats. I mean, seriously, guys, get a freaking move on. Oh, this is not good. That is a stupidly large amount of Ultralisks. This is actually the level... No, it's not the level 30. It's the Heart of the Swarm Collector's Edition Torask skin for the Ultralisks. And there's only one word to describe those Ultralisks, and that is just badass. I mean, I don't care if you've got a platoon of Marauders. You see one of those guys coming, and you just be like, you know what? Actually, I preferred it on that other planet, you know, the planet where none of this types of shit happens, where you've just got a couple of lings that come around every now and then and you know, trying to have a go at the local farmers and stuff, and you got to pick up your shotguns and go out and just shoot a couple of them, and the rest of them just go back to the caves. That planet was fine. I mean, that planet, you can eke out a decent living. You can, you know, maybe meet a nice girl, have a couple of kids, and just, you know, just be happy. You still got some danger, but you don't have 20 billion ultralisks, which looks like they could rip a house apart in one go if they really wanted to, just suddenly coming at your base constantly. I mean, it's just... It's... Really, I mean, really, guys, I mean, I know this is just a computer game, but I mean, you gotta say, alright, just, I've lost a crap load of units, maybe I should just give it up now. Maybe I should just say, you know, there's a hell of a lot of ultralists, and they're killing everything, and should I really keep fighting? Should I just get all of my units into a medevac and just sort of go somewhere else, or do something? Because I mean, all right, he's throwing some mines at these guys, and that's a pretty good option. But I mean, just damn, there's got to be another way around this situation. I mean, look at this, 8 more ultralists coming up, and the Terran player is just getting absolutely mauled at this point. He's still got fairly good amount of minerals. He's building a fair amount of marauders, and he's running them out single file into where all the ultralists are, and that is a fairly stupid move. I think he's trying to defend this, but just look, you need to get your marauders clumped up. You know, look at that. Seriously, it took like 2 or 3 seconds, and these guys coming in, there's like 2 ultras for every 1 marauder. You are not going to win that battle, okay? I know marauders are the counter for ultralists, but it's just the math just doesn't add up. I mean, I do like this Raven approach though, going in and hitting them, but they just got so much health. It's just stupidly large amounts of health all over the place. Something very surprising though, he hasn't actually got the ultralist armor yet, the extra 2 armor, which would probably help him out a little bit, but maybe he doesn't either. Go the Widow Mines, the Marauders. This may be it. This may be where he turns this around and actually takes out the ultras. And it looks like he's managed to do it there. The help of all these guys, even the SCVs getting involved there, helping to turn the Zerg tide, and of course these siege tanks doing their bit. So that guy's got 20 kills. This guy's got 18. And they have just had the best job in the entire game so far. I mean, they've basically sat there for the entire game, so you can just see the siege tank captain pilot dude just sitting there with a can of beer, maybe a couple of burgers or something like that, just shooting shit the entire game. He's like, do you want me to move out or something? We should, you know, do that really cool Terran tank micro sort of push out where we do all that fancy stuff and see if I can kill a lot of units. And the commander's just like, nah man, you know, just look, I can't really be stuffed with all of that boring micro. Okay, I'm just gonna go mass marines against ultras and see how that works. So you just stay in the base, and if anything comes anywhere near you, just shoot it. And the tank guy's like, yeah man, I can do that. It's cool. It's cool. Let you guys do all the hard work, and I'll attack them if they come close. I mean, look at this. Why was there no Raven bomb on those drones, man? That would have been awesome. Maybe he got one and they just ran away. This Zerg player's actually been pretty good at running away from the Raven bombs. He's well, the homing missiles or whatever the hell they're supposed to be called. He's always running, and he's got quite a lot of creep, so it actually does a pretty good job. There we go. This one marauder. He's just like, yeah, I totally scared all those ultras off by myself. I'm totally badass. My phone keeps making noises. It's very annoying. It's got the thingy bob got cancelled there, so that was pretty sweet. These ultras, man, they're just so badass, man. Where's those? Oh god, I keep forgetting. Is it this one? No, that's. There we go. Yeah, the moment's gone. It was a good moment where I could have swung around to the left and got a good look at them, but it's gone now. So these marauders just ruined the moment for me. I know it's their job, but you know, This Terran player really needs another base. Really needs another base. He really needs to knock down one of these bases at the side, get a base set up there. The top one is probably in a really good position for the Terran, because he's got a good force up here, so he could probably defend this one the easiest. However, the Zerg is currently holding onto that base, so the Terran needs to go in. He might even have a slightly superior army at the moment, simply because the Zerg has been focusing on Ultras and the Terran's now got a fair amount of Marauders there. And yeah, I'd like to see the Terran go in there and get that base and kill all these drones as well, and that would definitely do some good stuff for the Terran, because he needs a base. He really does. And look at the Zerg. The Zerg has just gone nuts on mining. He's mined out everything in sight, and it looks like the Terran is actually done a lot better in terms of his spending in this game, because the Zerg has mined out 1, 2, 3, 4 bases, and the Terran has mined out 2. So with half the minerals, he's managed to hold out for a full 42 minutes compared to the Zerg player. So he's done very well with his units at the moment. And yeah, I definitely think that deserves a round of applause. I'm not going to applaud. You guys feel free to applaud if you want to. Yeah, that's a very interesting. I think that's a Zerg sort of tattoo slogany thing. Well, the Zerg has a Zerg 1. That's like a rolling Baneling or a rolling Hydra or something like that. That would be awesome if Hydras could roll along like Banelings do. It's like I don't want to go totally nerd on you guys, but I mean, if in was it Star Wars Episode 1, like the old one with Qui-Gon and all that sort of stuff, where they had the rolling battle droids with the shields and stuff. They sort of roll along in a ball and then they pop up and they start shooting. That's what Hydras should be like. Just they roll along and then they pop out and they just got shooting all sorts of stuff all over the place. And that would probably be overpowered actually, because they could just they just roll into a group of SCVs and they just destroy everything so fast. And I actually think we are seeing swarm hosts here. I don't know why he's getting swarm hosts. I don't think they're going to work against this devastating Terran army, but he thought he'd give it a try, and yeah, it didn't work. I mean, look at this Raven counter. That's a very scary amount of Ravens. The Terran does have a stupid amount of gas though. He was up to like 8,000 gas before or something like that. It's absolutely nuts. But God. Well, it sounds like a little bit of a sore losering from the Zerg player there. I mean, it does seem a little bit funny, but I guess he just maybe didn't realise the guy had gotten the gold at that point. But he does realise that he's pretty much out of the game. He did say GG, but he hasn't left yet. I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't want to leave yet. Maybe he wants to go to the very end. He's got 4 minerals at the moment. He's long distance mining off this base. I'd say he's very rapidly going to be dying. Although this is a good attack. This might help him out a lot. Was that a siege? Ah, look at that siege tank. He's finally moved. He finally moved out of the main base. He finally said, look, I mean, I really want to go out there. Like, it's been like 20 minutes. Nobody's come anywhere near the main base. I got these 20 kills. I did a good job. But I really think I could do more for this team. And the Terran commander's like, if I send you out there, will you stop annoying me? And the Zerg not the Zerg, the tank's like, yeah, I just want to see some action. So, you know, I want to get out there and I hit a couple of things, and the Terran's like, fine, go defend that gold base, you know, just whatever. Nobody's going to attack it, but just go defend it anyway. And I mean, look at him. He's got some more kills now. He's proven himself again how awesome tanks are in this battle. He just completely wiped out those Lings, and he probably wiped out all of the SCVs from splash damage, but you know, it's not going to go in anybody's report. There's no Terran general who he has to send back the microscopic details. He probably gets a report. It probably has all these facts in it, but he's just like, look, son, did you win the battle? Is the Zerg threat destroyed, you know? And the guy's like, yeah, it's all taken care of, sir. It's all good. And it's just like, all right, that's good. Good job, son. Here's another medal. Just go off and have fun, and you know, go off to the nice planet. You've earned yourself a break. And that's the battle for you. I mean, it's just really, really good. I mean, Marine Marauder Medevac, always good. And he had a very heavy Marauder force. And because the Zerg teched into the Ultralists, it was a very good counter against that. So hats off to him for doing that. The Zerg, I thought he might have had the upper hand when he had all those infestors. He was doing so much fungal growth damage to the Terran player, it was just absolutely ridiculous. But the Terran had this base up and he was keeping some sort of hold on it. So he produced Marines like they were going out of style, and he managed to keep his army up enough to actually push back. And I think the Widow Mines played their part relatively well as well. We didn't see this bunch get a massive hit, and that's the only disappointing part of this game, because those guys, that would have been the golden moment of all golden moments if those guys had just run over that thing, and I would have just loved to see it. But I actually, alright, for 99% of you guys out there, the guys who said, alright, I've seen this game, it's done, good game, there it is, good game. For the rest of you guys, for the hardcore Widow Mine fanboys, we are going back and we're going to see what those Widow Mines actually did, because I really want to know. Alright, so the Widow Mines here, there's a Zerg force, we'll do +8. I want to see what happens. We're not going to move. We're just going to watch these Widow Mines. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 there. 10 Widow Mines. I have a feeling he moved them off to another spot. But you never know. You never know. So we're going to watch this here. We're going to see what happens to them. There's the attack down the bottom base. Widow Mines. Look at the kills on this. 17 kills. I think that might have been the highest. Alright, so he selected them. There's 15 kills in that one, so it's got a 17, 15. Wouldn't that be crazy if that's how it worked in the real military? If you get promoted based on how many people you killed. Okay, so we've got the Widow Mines coming out here. They're planted down there. These ones planted down there. So that's a nice bit of movement over there. I mean, seriously, if you're private for like 2 or 3 years versus basic training, you go out to combat, and you're right. All right, I'm gonna become a corporal today. I don't care. I'm gonna become a corporal. I need 4 kills to become a corporal. Let's do it. Let's go out there. Let's get some kills, and let's see how far we can go. And then he gets caught in a bunker or something by invading troops, and by the end of the day he's like a general or some shit because he killed like 50 people. I mean, can you imagine? I don't think it would work very well because everybody would just become a bloodthirsty maniac, and but it's just interesting. I mean, I suppose it's a bit hard for Blizzard to implement the real way of, you know, providing rank. Like, if they last for 5 minutes in the game, they become a corporal. If they last for 10 minutes, then they become a sergeant or something like that. If they're grouped with another private and the private survives, or if they save the private, there we go. That was a couple of kills on the ultras. You're gonna get a lot of hits up there. So they did get some hits. There's no overseer here. So I gotta think that some of those Widow Mines got taken out by splash damage from the Raven bombs. That is just... oh, that's just bad. I want to see if the captain got taken out. Did the captain... no, the captain's still there. There's 2 captains over here. 2 captains in a group of 6, so that's probably why they're not doing anything. They're just... yeah, just too many chiefs in the tribe, or however that saying goes. But yeah, I don't know if this group actually ends up doing anything. They may just be sitting there. And then these guys taken out by splash damage, that's just harsh. It's really, really harsh. I'm sure if the Widow Mines could speak, they would probably be making some sort of complaint at the moment. But looks like the Zerg... No, they planted them down here. They took out a couple more hits. I think they helped out with taking a couple of ultras. So these Widow Mines, you know. Look at this. There's a commander. Did I see a commander Widow Mine? There's a commander Widow Mine. So there we go. 20 kills. That's all it takes to become a commander. You go out there. You're just completely green. You're shaking. You're holding your gun. You got your helmet on backwards. You frag 20 people. Then tomorrow you're leading the entire battle. I mean, that is just awesome. That's how the real army should be, I think. No, I'm kidding. That would be absolutely horrible from a realistic point of view. But I mean, it's just so awesome. It really is. It really is. All right, I think we're done here. I think we're going to end up finishing the game again. And we've seen how the Widow Mines ended up, and we've seen the Terran ending up blowing everything away. So I think that's probably it, and thank you very much for watching this awesome battle, guys. It's so long, this video is so long, but I think this is possibly my best cast to date. It's certainly been one of the most epic casts to date, and it's 100% been the most fun cast to date, and I hope you guys actually watch the whole thing. I've had a look at YouTube, and some people just watch like 3 minutes of my videos, and I'm like, yeah, you know, do what you want. I still get a view count on those, so it's all good. But anyway, watch it all. I understand that saying this at the end of the video is not going to be helpful, but whatever. You can watch the whole video, and then you tell your mate, and you say, you got to watch it all, because not only is it epic, but Hairy Muppet told me to. So there we go. I'm completely rambling on at this point, because I'm so excited about this game. But that's it. Done. We are finished. Thank you very much for watching. A huge congrats to GrayFoxxx, and a slightly less but still fairly good congratulations to Reaz. I still can't pronounce his name, but he did an awesome job in this game. Thank you very, very much for watching this epic game, and I will catch you guys later.